We are incredibly grateful and honored today to have the opportunity to talk about Nitta Gelatin, which is a very important Japan-related presence in our state. And I would like to introduce these gentlemen here on the call with me. We have the President and CEO of Nitta Gelatin's North America operations, Jürgen Gallert, and we also have the Vice President of Operations,
Noriyuki
Tsuji, joining us today. So I want to welcome both of you and thank you for making time in your busy schedules to talk with me.
Oh, our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I had a few questions about Nitta Gelatin, and I have the overall feeling that the general population doesn't quite know how important gelatin and peptides and related technologies, what a critical role this plays in our daily lives. Everything from foodstuffs and pharmaceuticals to other things that I never would have thought of. And so I'd like to ask a bit more about Nitta Gelatin, what your products are, how many North Carolinians you employ, and how the company came to North Carolina.
Sure. Yeah, I think I could probably help you out with that. So first of all, Nitta Gelatin is a Japanese-based company, and it's based out of Osaka, Japan, and it has a very long history. So we celebrated our 100th anniversary in 2019. So the company is an exclusive club of companies that have reached the 100-year mark. So we're very proud of that. And, we are a company that's narrowly focused in our core strengths of producing products that derive from collagen. So that includes collagen, gelatin, and collagen peptide. The company has expanded outside of Japan early in its history. Back in the 70s, they ventured out into India at that time, which was very rare for Japanese companies. So the company has a very pioneering spirit. And then not soon after that, they came to North America in the 80s. So we've been here in North America now for over 40 years. And so we have quite a long history here in North America as well. We came to North Carolina in the mid-2000s. We came to North Carolina in 2006. So we've been here for a little while now, but still relatively new. And the reason we came here was mainly to build a new manufacturing facility, which we built in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The driver for that was access to high quality raw materials. And so the products that we produce at our manufacturing plant here in North Carolina are derived from pork raw materials. And so North Carolina has a very healthy pork industry, with Smithfield being a well-known name in the state. And they have a large presence in that part of the state, in Tar Heel, North Carolina. So it was a good location for us to build a plant and partner with them for what we consider and what is for us a very key raw material. After that, we moved our head office, which at the time was in New Jersey. We moved that down to Morrisville, right outside of RTP, which was a good location for us to have access to the talent we needed on the professional level, access to the universities that surround us, as well as the Research Triangle Park and the airport. So there was a lot of infrastructure here that made sense for us. At the same time, not being too far away from our manufacturing facility in Fayetteville. So it made it convenient for us to be able to access and get back and forth. So that's kind of the history of the company and what brought us to North Carolina.
I think most people know that it moves beyond just foodstuffs. It's in a lot of stuff, and gelatin and collagen, the peptides. So yeah, I'd love to have an overview of that.
Yeah, so the main products that we produce here in North Carolina are both gelatin and collagen peptide. And as you noted, gelatin is a very ubiquitous ingredient that has a lot of very interesting functionality, which lends itself to be used in a lot of different products. It's a protein, and so some of its really interesting characteristics is its melt in your mouth texture, which is unique to an animal protein, which melts at body temperature. And the other key attribute of gelatin is its ability to melt at room temperature and then solidify when it's cooled down. So it has this thermoreversible quality, which is also very, very unique. And for those key characteristics, gelatin finds itself in really a wide array of products. So, it's found commonly in a lot of confectionery products. So gummy bears and marshmallows are probably the two most popular. So, gummy bear has that texture that people really enjoy when they put it in their mouth. It has that soft texture, but then it starts to melt as soon as it interacts with your body temperature. Marshmallows, it gives it the ability to have that fluffy texture that holds the air pockets inside of a marshmallow. It's in soft candies. It's in various gelatin desserts, and just a whole wide array of different food products, meat products, dairy, yogurt, etc. So it has a lot of applications, but it's not only used in food products. So I think that a lot of times people don't realize all of the capsules that you see in the marketplace, whether it's prescription medication that you might be getting from your doctor, or it's nutritional dietary supplements that you might be buying in the store, vitamins, etc. Those capsules are often made or almost entirely made from gelatin. And again, the reason is that as soon as you put that capsule in your mouth, it starts to dissolve and releases the ingredients inside. And so that's also a big part of our business as well. And then on the collagen peptide side, collagen peptide is a product that is enzymatically treated to further break up the molecular chain of the protein, which is gelatin, to make it more bioavailable. So it's sold and used as a nutritional ingredient, and it's a very widely studied ingredient. Nitta has probably about 30 clinical studies on different health benefits for collagen peptide, everything from skin health to bone and joint health, to diabetes management, brain health, etc. So it's a really powerful ingredient that has a lot of health benefits. So it's used as a supplement, and it's readily bioavailable to the body. And the mechanisms that give it its ability to function are very strong and clinically backed. So these are great products, and we're proud to produce them here in North Carolina, and we plan to do that for a long time.
Thank you for that. I really do encourage everybody watching to go on the Nitta Gelatin website and check out all of this research and all of these the various products that are derived from gelatin and collagen peptides, and it really is fascinating. You can really go into so many different things.
Yeah, the timing is good because just today we actually, one of our collagen peptide products, one of our very high functioning Replenwell branded products, just won NutriIngredients Product of the Year. So we'll be promoting that. So that was a great accomplishment for us. And
congratulations.
So on our website soon.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I also did want to ask about how many, I mean, this is the in the Fayetteville operation, and then I guess also combined with HQ in Morrisville. How many North Carolinians are employed by Nitta Gelatin?
So we have about 75 employees here in North Carolina. It's about 55 or so down in Fayetteville and about 20 here at our head office.
Understood. I was fortunate enough pre-pandemic to be able to go out with Corey Howard from EDPNC to the facility in Fayetteville, and Suji-san was there and very kindly gave us a tour. And instantly it gave me the impression of, yeah, I mean, a Japanese production facility, or, you know, a manufacturing facility, and the fact that everything had its place and everything's very clean. And, you know, it was wonderful to go out there and visit you all. I did want to ask about operations in relation to the pandemic. I mean, you know, every industry has felt the effects of the pandemic in a different way. And I'd like to invite, of course, also Tsuji-san to, you know, as the VP of operations, to give his thoughts.
Yes, we try to avoid people is infected. Unfortunately, some people infected. So of course, people needs to be quarantined. So we are trying to, but we don't like to minimize our production. So we have to keep producing our staff because customer is waiting. So that's why, of course, we are trying to manage about the people who is working day shift, night shift, something like that, and also about the transportation. Like some of the product we send it to Japan or but the container is not easy to be kept on time. That also is very effective. And the people is, we have to use mask all the time, either in the plant or outside. And as you know, inside the plant, it's very hot in the summertime. But the people have to wear the mask. And also sometimes we have to work together with very close distance. But we need to, make some distance. And in the working time also, but also usually they have a break time, and they are enjoy speaking to each other, talking with lunch. But it's not also allowed. We have to make a distance, and we have to put some barrier. So people is very, I think, frustrated. It's just a number one part. We have struggling about the pandemic.
Well, now that we're seeing, in various industries that demand is actually getting ahead of production capabilities in some industries, right? What are we seeing in your industry? Are we seeing a lot more demand now that we're starting to kind of emerge from where we were about a year ago?
We are, but to be honest, we also had great demand during the COVID period. And so we're very, very fortunate in that sense. The products that we produce and the markets that they go into had healthy demand throughout the COVID pandemic, especially obviously the gelatins that go into the dietary supplement and pharmaceutical industry. That demand stayed strong, and so we were, it was necessary for us to make sure that we continue to supply those customers, and then. In the confectionery and dessert areas, I think those types of comfort foods were strong in demand during the pandemic as people were home more. Kids were out from school, so they were home more. So there's more opportunity, I think, to snack, etc. And so we stayed with strong demand throughout the pandemic. But now, as we're coming out, we're seeing even further increase. I'd say the one area where we might have seen some fall off was on the collagen peptide side, as people were not able to go to stores as much during the height of the pandemic. But now, as people are starting to get back out and starting to travel and getting back out to their more normal shopping routines, et cetera, we're seeing a huge increase in that demand as well. So overall, we're very grateful. And as Nori said, it was challenging for us during, the COVID period. Obviously, as an essential business, we needed to continue to run. It's a manufacturing operation that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so we have an essential workforce that has to be there at the plant. So, we had a lot of COVID protocols in place that were challenging. But all of our employees rose to the occasion and did a great job. And, we're very proud of them to be able to get through all that. Now we're slowly lifting some of those protocols, so life is starting to get a little bit easier in the plant. So we're grateful for that as well.
Fantastic. I'm very happy to hear that. And I did want to ask Tsuchi-san about how many Japanese nationals are usually, right, like pandemic aside, are usually at the Fayetteville and or Morrisville facilities?
Okay, before pandemic, one sales coordinator is working at the Morrisville, and usually, one sales coordinator in the sales office. And here, Fayetteville, we have 2 Japanese people, include myself.
And they're usually on rotations, usually like?
Yes, 3 to 5 years rotation.
if we were to talk about Nitta Gelatin's short, mid, and long-term plans for operations in North Carolina, and just giving me a very high-level view of that, what would we be generally looking at? Short, mid, long-term?
Yeah, short term, we don't have any great expansion plans at the moment. You know, coming out of COVID, you know, we kind of took a pause. We are doing a lot of investment in the facility and in the people in terms of new equipment, modernization, and training. So there's a lot of resources being invested in the existing facility and existing workforce. But as we look more to the medium and long term, there will definitely be additional investments in North Carolina to expand operations. Not clear exactly what product lines will be expanded at this time, but you know, for sure we see opportunity to grow our business. You know, we purposely chose our site in Fayetteville for the possibility to expand, with the room to expand. And so that will definitely be part of our mid and long term strategy, but we don't have any concrete plans at this point.
Yeah, and it's anyone's ball game in terms of what we're going to be in another year, right? So it's but I'm happy to hear that Nitta Gelatin's operations and products have such resiliency in terms of the conditions that are going on in the rest of the world. That's really great. If we were to just pick maybe one thing that, from you know, at the highest level there with you, President Gallard, that pre-pandemic, right before we knew anything was going on, and post-pandemic, have there really been any sort of aha moments at Nitta Gelatin? I mean, we've seen this in other companies where work styles have changed and efficiencies have been found. So has there been anything like that, just generally speaking?
Yeah, I think for sure. You know, there's some very clear ones that jump out at us, and there's probably some more nuanced ones that are more difficult to identify. But clearly, you know, pre-pandemic, you know, as many companies probably, you know, you get into some really set routines as far as what the expectations are. Obviously, being a Japanese owned company and with a Japanese culture, the work from home idea was not very common or popular. I mean, our sales team has always been remote, but outside of them, you know, we had no other employees that would work remotely. So clearly, you know, our company, as well as probably many others, discovered that working from home and working remotely works. And it actually turned out in many cases to be even more efficient and even more productive. So we didn't really see a fall off in productivity, and in many cases we saw productivity gains. So I think that was encouraging, and that was certainly for me in my role an aha moment, because you know, pre-pandemic you would have been, or I would have been skeptical if we would have seen those types of productivity gains. And then the travel. I mean, you know, also the Japanese business culture is very focused on in-person contacts, which is very important, and establishing those relationships. You know, we're in a B2B business, and so having strong relationships with our customers and being a partnership with them is important to us. And typically the only way you could do that was to spend a lot of face time with those customers at various levels. And of course, that was not possible during the COVID pandemic. And so we had to do a lot of that work remotely. And what we found is that, you know, although it's not the same, some of it can be maintained. We are anxious to get back in front of customers slowly as they allow visitors. But I would say that was another aha moment for us, that some of the travel may not have been as necessary always as we had deemed it to be. And then I'm sure Nori has some takeaways just from the manufacturing side.
Yeah, as Jürgen said, you know, for the production side, I thought before I always have to be there. That's very, you know, of course it's better to be there, but I realized sometimes some of the job can be done remotely. For example, I'm in charge of the Canadian plant operation also. So during the pandemic, of course, I couldn't go there. but still I can talk to the people by like this, Zoom or other, live sites. And if I want, they can take a picture and like a movie and, introduce to me. That's also very impressive. And, it's not our operation, but some of the audit was done by remotely also. Well, that's very impressive. And people learn, how to work efficiently, even, I cannot be there. That's very impressive.
And what about the actual production and production of the all of your products there and the logistics? There are people on site, right? I mean, you have techs doing a lot of this work and meeting and exceeding your quotas. How did that, with the restrictions in place, how did that change, and what's going to maybe continue after the pandemic, if anything?
I see. About the production side, actual production people need to be there still, because some of the physical work and it have to be done. But probably, for the engineering side also can be remotely. And if, they can be at the site, that's fine. But even they cannot be the site, that's we can work. So for example, if we have a trouble, if I call to some contractor, before, maybe they have to come in. So we have to wait 1 hour, 2 hours until they come. But probably we can utilize about this kind of function and show them what we have to do. So it can be fixed right away. So that kind of function will be developed more and more, I think.
Understood. Thank you for those thoughts.
Thank you.
It'll be really interesting to see in all these industries what carries forward.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so
What
yes,
sticks and what fades away, yeah.
right, exactly right.
Yeah. And especially in Japan, some people spending like 1 hour from the home to company. And so back and forth.
I did that, yes.
I see.
Commuting to work, commuting back. Yeah.
Yeah,
It can be hours.
exactly. So that can be saved. So that's a good benefit for the people, I think.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to getting back out there too. And we also are aiming to, get more of our companies connected to each other. We're trying to set up a North Carolina Japan business conference and get people networking again when it's safe to do so.
Right.
But until then, please stay safe and healthy. And we're excited to see what the future holds at Nitta Gelatin.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jonathan. It was a
Thank you very
pleasure.
much, Jonathan.